Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Board Game Mechanics. I'm Katie, and with me, as always, is...
Hey, everybody, what's going on? It is Jason.
This may be disappointing, but we're actually recording earlier in the day, so I will not be punch-drunk sleepy by the time we get done with this episode.
Yes, you will. You will.
No, I mean, I'm kind of sleepy now, but it'll wear off.
Yeah, I can say it's almost 8 o'clock. You're about ready to go to bed.
That's not true. It's not true. But it won't be like 10:30, which is when I'm really like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what I'm saying.
We sound like super old, like grandma and grandpas. It's 10 o'clock. I gotta go to bed. I gotta get up and turn my coffee pot on.
Well, we had the early bird special for dinner at 4:30, you know. No, we somehow got rid of our children, so we're like, let us record a podcast, not in the middle of the night.
Yeah, that's nice. That's the life we live. That's the life we live.
I know, gosh, and that's exciting. We are old fuddy-duddies already. That's cool.
Yep, we are.
I'll take it. And since it's early, I'm ready to dive right into news. This week for news, I gotta tell you, I'm cutting these a little close. I'm sorry. Jason told me it was okay. If you didn't hear about these in time to back these on Kickstarter, I fully expect you to blame him. But not just Kickstarter. Today I have a game from Gamefound. That's right. There are other crowdfunded places out there. Gamefound, I thought for a long time that, Gamefound's going to take over for Kickstarter. Hasn't happened yet.
I think it will. It will eventually. It's just slow and steady.
Yeah, they need an app.
They get an app. It's off to the races.
Yeah. But the first game is on Gamefound, and it's called 1980 Sistine, which I think is a weird name, but apparently it's based on like a series. There's these 1900 series or something. I don't know. You realize I don't know anything about this, but...
I've never heard of it, so you know more than me.
So the game itself, in some ways, reminds me of a game I really enjoy called Fresco. So you are kind of assembling the Sistine Chapel with the frescoes. So the ceiling has like Genesis on it. The north wall has Jesus Christ. The south wall is Moses. The west wall is a Final Judgment. So you are working on getting these. I think you're restoring the frescoes. Yes, you're restoring the frescoes. You are like reviving the color of these different frescoes in the Sistine Chapel, which I think is a really fun, cool theme. So you can do like a technical preparation where you're drawing technique cards. So you can do like one of three actions. You can draw technique cards. You have a hand limit of 8. So it's like, maybe mixing, like taking like paint chip samples from the original paint to test it for the colors, using like some kind of video process restoration. I don't know. Anyway, technique cards. You can get materials. So discarding technique cards, and then you can get like actual materials of the color of your own player color, and then start restoring the fresco. So you're playing these cards that are actually like restoration cards to put the different kinds of like materials that you have onto the different places that you're restoring. So if you want to do like a correct restoration, you're going to play like a higher value than's required of like technique cards. So it's going to be like a correct restoration, like you did it exactly. Or you can go for like an exact value required, which is an excellent restoration, and you improve the fresco's value. You get an immediate bonus. So like going in with the exact amount of technique for the place on the fresco you're restoring, like gives you bonuses. Or you can do like a lower value. This is like Jason making toys out of plastic only on Sam's Workshop. It's considered prudent. It's not sloppy. It's prudent. But it lowers the fresco's total value. But you can keep, technique cards in your play area, and you can get points from them at the end of the game. So it's like, well, you didn't do the best restoration job, but you didn't spend a lot of money. So which I think is really interesting. So you're like trying to contribute more materials than other players to complete a fresco, get a fresco restored. So then you get more points for that particular fresco if you have like a higher contribution. And then there's new ones like revealed as you reveal them. So then you have like this really big, huge, like Sistine Chapel, like series of frescoes on your table when you're done with the game, which I also think is really kind of cool. Yeah, I just find it really, so seems mostly like set collection and some, well, I don't want to say set collection. It's resource management, card management, sort of area control-ish, contract fulfillment. I guess all those things. There's also some little expansions that they're offering in this. So if you like any of those things, the Sistine Chapel, the idea of restoring something, contract fulfillment, all those fun things, check out Gamefound, Sistine 1980. It is $21.
Dang, that is a cheap game right there.
Well, it's like cards and like discs. That's.
Oh.
I mean, the artwork's nice, but there's only 4 days left by the time this podcast drops.
The theme is awesome. It was like I love what is that fresco, and you know it seems like it should be a theme that's on every Euro game because I mean, hello, you think of Euro, you're thinking of the Sistine Chapel. I mean, come on, but right? Yeah, the theme is awesome.
Well, and I guess like so there was a restoration of these frescoes in the Sistine Chapel that occurred between 1980 and 1994. So that's what this is kind of playing on. But it's originally in euros, so the shipping might be considerable. But yeah, it's only like, it's really more like $20.50 or something when you do the conversion.
Suck it, England.
But it's like 19 euros.
Like that. Suck it, America.
Like that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's super cheap. I can get behind a $20 game. I support that all day. That's my kind of game.
I think it looks awesome. So that is my first one. And then I have another one because I got to go back to your old faithful Kickstarter. And I honestly wasn't sure about this game. It looks okay. But man, I'm a sucker for a Japanese theme game. And that's what this is. It's called Ginza Retro Cafe. And by Retro Cafe, it means like retro to Japan. To like an older time period in Japan where, and in some ways, I guess it's Japan's version of like our soda shop.
All right. So you said you weren't into this, and this is a game that's set in Japan?
Yeah.
I don't even know you anymore.
Okay, calm down. So what happens is you are in this retro cafe. It's in the Ginza. It's got like cream sodas and like little parfaits and omelet rice, and you are a server. So you're trying to fulfill customers' orders so that you can be the number one server in the cafe. I mean, pretty straightforward. Actually, one of the most Japanese themes I've ever seen. So you do this by rolling dice. I don't quite understand the gameplay in this. I got to be honest, because I'm like, what the heck? But you get this. You get a server, a player card. It has a special ability. Each one. You collect dice. You can. I don't know how you know what you get, but then it's almost like Ancient Terrible Things or even like Yahtzee. You're rolling these dice, and if you get like a set of 3 6s and it matches a particular customer who wants, like omelet rice and, green tea, you can fulfill that order and you get victory points for the dish that you served. But you can fulfill many orders in one turn. I don't know how you do that. And you can level up your actions by spending coins. And also like the customer cards rotate out after a time. So to kind of simulate customers leaving if they wait too long. And there you can be like bonus points for the way you do different things. There's just like several, it's dice management. If there's not just the orders, there's like other types of cards that exist. I've been trying to figure it out. I'm like, I really should understand this. I didn't watch a video. I don't know if it would help. Is there a video in English? Maybe.
Yeah, it looks like you're getting these special power cards that let you manipulate dice, and you're getting bonus cards, which you're trying to fulfill certain orders to meet the requirements of those bonus cards.
Right.
Just by looking at it, that's kind of what I see.
To just add to what you have. What I thought was interesting is that if you want cards in English, you have to buy, like this, basically this special edition. You can't get the standard edition of the game, but the standard edition is only Japanese. So, I mean, if you read Japanese, then you can save $10. Maybe not quite.
You can use the Google Lens.
Use your Google Lens. It's not going to work out for you, but you could do it. However, if you're like me and you do think, man, I might need some English cards, you're going to go with the Kickstarter Special Edition, which is for 6,000 yen, which currently is like $38 US. And not only do you actually get like English player cards and rulebooks and summary cards, it also comes with all the stretch goals, which I believe at least one of them is an expansion. And then they're shipping, and they already have the shipping, and the shipping to America is 2,800 yen, which is like $17, almost $18. So not terrible. But the artwork is pretty cute. I don't know if you can be a cat instead of like a waitress if you get the cat token, but there is a cat token in there. And it's just cute, like Japanese art. So also if you are big into like dice checkers and you want something with kind of a different theme, a different look to it, I would check out Ginza Retro Cafe. So again, like I said, it's about $38. Shipping will be like $18. And there's 5 days left on that Kickstarter.
I think this looks awesome. No, I'm serious.
Okay.
The Kickstarter has some terrible translations, but aside from that, yeah,
I'm sure the English cards will too, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. It'll have some bad. Yeah, that's why I wouldn't back it, because it's going to be rough translations. But no, I think it looks like a fun Yahtzee-ish game. I always like those.
Yeah, it looks cute. So that is all I have for news today.
All right, so let's talk about some games that we played. And we've played lots of games over the last couple weeks, and we'll talk about some. So, first game we're going to talk about is a game I picked up at Origins, and I almost forgot that we picked it up because it's in a funky bag, and I didn't notice it in the picture, and it's called Seaside. And this is I don't know if it's a push your luck game, but it's like a Zen drawing tiles out of a bag game, trying to build up your own seaside and also putting some tiles in the center of the table, which is called the sea. And what you're trying to do is, at the end of the game, you're trying to have the highest stack of tokens, which means all the tokens that you've collected, you'll stack them up. Whoever has the tallest stack is the winner. But the way you're going to do that is some of the tiles you can take some of the tiles when you draw out of the bag. They're each double-sided. You can pick which side you want. Some of the tiles will go into the center of the table, and then they'll let you take another turn. You get to draw another tile and do all that. And then some of the tiles you draw will go on your seashore. They may interact with the sea, let you collect some animals, some like little insects that the birds can eat. Maybe you can collect shells for your beach. Sometimes you'll get a tidal wave, and it'll wash out one of your beaches, but you get to use what's on the back of your beach token. And you're just trying to use these tokens in the best way that you can to have more tokens than everybody else. You can get some crabs if you have a rock habitat. They'll let you steal some other people's tokens, which is pretty cool. But as a general rule, you're doing your own thing. Everybody else is doing their own thing. And you're trying to have the best seaside, I guess. This is a fine game. I thought it was more push your luck than it is. It's mostly just a kind of a chill, you can hang out and talk while you're playing this game and just try to have more tokens than everybody else. I like it. It's fine. I wish it had a little more push your luck. That's what I thought it was going to be. So I was a little disappointed in that. But as a game, it was okay. The decisions of which side of the tiles you want to use is fun. What you're trying to go after, which of your beaches you're going to flip when there's a tidal wave, all that kind of thing. It's got some interesting decisions, but it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, so it disappointed me a little bit. But other than that, I liked it, and I had fun, and I would play it again for sure. So, what do you think about Seaside?
Yeah, I liked it. In some weird ways, it kind of reminds me of like a tile version of Sea Salt and Paper, even more like trimmed down. I think it's almost too trimmed down in that it's just too short. Like, I feel like once you really start getting something going, it's over. And that makes me sad. But it is very chill and laid back. And this is maybe something I think would be really fun to play with our kids.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And it's pretty. I really think it's like the tiles are really nice and wooden, and the little sea animals. And I like the vibe it evokes. I wouldn't go for it. I would rather play Sea Salt and Paper if I want to play something like this. But for a very like light, quick palate cleanser, or even with kids, or with like super, or people who are like, I'm too stupid to play games. Like, is it too much rules? This would be a good one to like throw at them that they could handle.
Yeah, all the rules are really basic. Everybody has a little card in front of them. Yeah, it's really simple to get. You can eat some pretzels, have just conversations while you're playing this game. Yeah, I agree with all that.
Thanks.
All right, so anyway, moving on. Up next is a game we did not get at Origins, and this is a game that I didn't actually like much the first time we played it. I felt like it was too short and I couldn't do anything. I still kind of feel like that, but the game is Marvel Remix, and this is the Marvel version of Fantasy Realms. I think it might be a little different, but what this is it's a game where you have 7 cards in your hand. You have Marvel superheroes and different things that go with the superheroes. And then you're going to have a villain. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to meet the scoring conditions on all these cards in the best way you can by either drawing a card at the top of the deck or taking one of the cards that have been played into the discard pile. You're just trying to build your hand so all the cards kind of work together to give you as many points as you can. Now, the interesting thing here is you have to have either a hero or an ally in your hand and a villain to score any points. So you can't just neglect the villains at all. You have to have a villain, but the villains can give you a lot of negative points, but they also give you a lot of positive points, which is why you may want to stay clear of those. But it's an interesting game. I like it more this time, but I still think it's too short. I don't like the 10 cards in the discard pile mechanism. I don't love that. If it had some other way as an in-game trigger, I think I would like this game more. But I like the hand management. I like all that stuff. I also like that in Red Rising, which I think is a better game. But I do enjoy playing this. I just wish it was a little bit longer so I could develop myself a little bit more. So there you go. So how'd you feel about Marvel Remix this time?
Oh, I love it still. I love it. I would like to try and play this the next time we play it and extend that to like maybe 15 cards or 12 cards.
Work.
Just so you could see if that time limit is truly the issue. Or if it's like, I'm never going to get it together no matter what the time limit is. I love this. I love the possibilities that, like, when I pull a card, where's it going to fit in? What's it going to be able to bump out? Is that going to affect some of my other cards and their scoring possibilities? Can I possibly get this perfect pairing? Am I waiting on this card? Like, how can I keep from getting the really negative effects of this villain? Like, I love that really crunchy puzzle with just some cards. Like, it just really is engaging to me. I apparently the fantasy version is like impossible to find.
No, they had it when we got this one.
Oh, I want
this one was the one that was hard to find.
Oh, I wouldn't mind having both. I just like it. I mean, I like Red Rising, but this is my favorite part of Red Rising, honestly. And so for a quicker, so then it's like if you have a bum hand and you're like, that just didn't work out. Cool. We'll do it again. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and maybe you'll have a better hand. If every time you have a bum hand, you're the problem, not the game.
That is true. No, I haven't had bum hands every time. I would like to have better hands.
Well, I know, and I agree. Like, I think every time that's maybe true, but I think that there's something to be said for the time limit. But yeah, I really like it. I really like this game.
Yeah, I like. There's a little bit of push your luck that you can do with the villains, because the villains are like high risk, high reward. If you draw one, they're going to be worth positive points, but they're also going to be worth a bunch of negative points if you don't hit their criteria. So if you're going to take one, you really got to focus on it. So there's some cool stuff I like about it. I like transforming the cards just from Tony Hawk.
What?
Tony Stark to Iron Man, or like Bruce Banner to Hulk. I like that element. There's some cool elements. I just want it to be a little bit longer. Okay. And to have Tony Hawk. If it had Tony Hawk, I would be way more down. All right, so that fell on deaf ears. I'm going to insert some crickets. So finally, we're going to play a game that our friend Richard gave us at Origins, and he gave us the Japanese version of a game called Circus Flohcati, which we used the Google Lens on, and it said the Japanese name is Summer Treasure or Treasures. I don't remember what it was, but one of those two. And this is effectively a game where there are 10 different suits of cards, and every suit has 0 through 7 in the suit. And what you're trying to do is on your turn, you're going to either take a card from the display of cards that have already been revealed, or you're going to push your luck a little bit and keep flipping to try to get a card that you want that maybe fits numbers in your hand or whatever. But if you reveal the same color card that's already out there, you bust, you discard that card, and you get nothing. But if you don't reveal the same color, you can take any card that you want that's out there and either put it in your hand, or if it goes with 2 other numbers, you can play those to the table as a trio, and they're worth 10 points. At the end of the game, if somebody gets there's 2 ways the game can end. If the deck runs out, it's going to end. But if somebody gets all 10 suits of cards in their hand, they're going to call for a gala, and that ends the game. They'll get 10 points. And then you're going to add up the highest card of every suit you have in your hand, and all your trios out in front of you are worth 10 points, and whoever has most points is the winner. That's it. We had the all Japanese, so I was looking up the rules from a different English version, and all the art was different, so it made it a little bit trickier on what the special cards do, but I think we got through it. The push your luck is minimal at best. You don't have to do it, but of course I did it, and Katie's cousin's husband did it, because that's what we do. But it seems like we played it twice in a row, because the first time we didn't really get it, but the second time it feels like what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the low numbers 0 through 3 and play those as trios down on the table so they're worth points. And you're trying to keep the higher number cards in your hand to score at the end of the game when all the cards run out or somebody calls a gala. It feels like that's what you're supposed to do. And that's kind of the path that we all took the second game, and we had much higher scores, and it worked out a little bit better. I think this game is fine. It's probably not my favorite game, push your luck game. The art's amazing on the Japanese version. I will say that. I like the suits that they pick. Some kids drinking Ramune soda, which is awesome. But yeah, it's a good game. I would play it. It's just not my favorite push your luck game in the world, or favorite Knizia game. So there you go. So how'd you feel about this?
I really wanted to like this a lot, and I was just kind of underwhelmed by it. Like, it felt like there should be extra rules. Like, everyone's going to hold on to high numbered cards, even if you have a trio, because if I played on a trio, I'm getting rid of 3 of the suits that could lead me to a gala, and I don't want to do that. Also, in my hand, that's worth 21 points, whereas down it's worth 10. So maybe we're scoring wrong, because that just doesn't make sense. So what's the point of actually making trios unless I don't know. I feel like you should be punished in some way for holding on to those, or it's like a trade-off. If I keep it in my hand, they're only worth half the value or something. Like, it's so pretty. I want to like it so much. It's just like, it needs like 1 or 2 more rules to make it excellent.
Honestly, we did talk about this, that it seems like maybe the game wants you to push your luck, and you get a couple trios out and you just burn through the rest of the cards. So you're scoring some points and everybody else isn't, because you're burning through the cards doing the flipping. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
So if anybody does know, please tell us that we're morons and how we need to play it, because I want to like it more. but it's just not quite there for me.
I'm pretty sure we played it right, as far as I can tell. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe not.
If we
I've been
didn't
known to
play
play
it
a
right,
game.
it makes me sad. That's how you play it.
All the videos, that's how they were playing it. So
Yeah, I know.
yeah, I don't know. The only difference is we didn't have that hideous art that they had on theirs.
Oh my gosh, that's the other thing. It's like I would not play it. If I had that stupid flea circus nonsense. No way.
Not even cute fleas. It's like actual people with flea heads. It's disgusting.
Disgusting.
It's disgusting. But ours is not. Ours looks really, really nice. But
yeah.
Either way, thank you for this game, Richard.
Oh my goodness.
We did play it.
Yes, that's like the sweetest thing. I was like, oh my gosh. Thank you.
And we'll definitely keep it around because I don't hate it. It's got amazing art. If I'm feeling like maybe a lighter push your luck game, I'll probably bust this one out or something.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the games we played. Let's travel the world.
Okay, so it is summertime. I was watching, I don't know if anyone watches the Holderness Family, but they were marketing people and they did some funny videos, Christmas jammies, and they won the Amazing Race last year or something. Anyway, I like them. Kim and Penn. This is not a plug for them. I just happen to like them. But they did a video talking about how everyone's seems like we're going to do this staycation over the summer, all this stuff. And they're like, why is everyone in Italy? And actually, I have my best friend's sister is in Italy this summer. And I was like, they are right. People are traveling the world this summer. I am not one of them, but people are doing it. So I thought, why don't we travel the world with some board games? So we've got board games from all over. Jason apparently broke the rules and has one from the United States, but I guess it's a road trip game for him. The rest are all around the world. So
the United States is still in the world.
Okay, yeah, I know. Whatever. Just give us your number 5.
Okay, so yes, I didn't really understand the theme, so I just picked cities. So there we go. But my number 5, I picked it because it's not a game that we talk about a lot, and it's not terrible. It's just really long, and it has an interesting theme, and it's called City of the Big Shoulders, which is basically a nickname for Chicago from like 1913 or something like that. It was in some poem. I don't know. Who cares? But the game takes place in Chicago, and what you're these industries, like 4 or 5 different types of industries, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to build your company up, sell stocks to your company, make as much materials as you can, sell the material so your company becomes profitable so you can pay out dividends to people who own stock in your company. It's basically an 18XX game, but without trains. It switches trains for worker placement. So that's kind of what this one does. So if that sounds good to you, check this out. But I think as far as the theme comes, the theme is pretty solid, like the Industrial Revolution of Chicago. And I didn't realize we had to be around the world, so there we go. So if this doesn't count, sorry, but Chicago's in the world, therefore. And just like any of these places, if I'm going to go anywhere, they're all going to feel like they're across the whole entire world for me, because I don't like to travel. So Chicago, Japan, China, it's all the same to me. So there you go. My number 5, City of the Big Shoulders.
That is the worst defense of picking this game that I've ever heard in my life. And you're the one that said around the world. I didn't even name this. You're the one that's like, yeah.
Yeah, but Chicago's in the world. Like, I don't understand why this is a big dish. I can't talk. A big issue.
Okay. If you want to defend it, let's say a major, the closest I would say probably one of the closest major airports to us that does an extreme amount of international flights would be O'Hare in Chicago. So
there we go. We're traveling to O'Hare to get onto the international flight. So there we go. Yeah, that was my intention the whole time.
You're welcome. Now onto a real choice. My number 5 is Belgian Beers Race. And this is about more traveling around in Belgium. You are going to different breweries, so you're scoring points in like a bunch of different ways in this game, which I really love. You are picking up like coasters. You can buy beer at these breweries. You can buy cheese. You can go toast with friends. You can bike to breweries. You can bus to breweries. You can hitchhike to breweries. But, that alcohol consumption could get you. So you got to watch it or else you're going to pass out because you've only got a 3-day weekend. You're hitting it hard Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Belgium. I just like that you can kind of do your own thing. There's like small little goals that you can meet throughout the game. There's in-game goals. So hitting all the different breweries, getting like different types of beer, filling your backpack, getting coasters, like just points all over the place. And I don't have to do these brewery tours in the same way you do. And I can go to a different area. Like, I just think that's so fun. The theme is funny. I think all the times but one that I played this, I passed out on the first day. I just went in hard on Friday and passed out. And that does penalize you. You wake up later on Saturday. You get to go further back in the turn order. I had one bad experience with this game, and it's because I taught it. And I should not be allowed to teach it to people that are...
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure with that.
That are rules lawyers, yeah. Like literally.
Or real lawyers, yeah.
I just think I failed everyone miserably on that. But normally I really love this game. And it's about going to Belgium. So my number 5 of Around the World games is Belgian Beers Race.
Yeah, that's a good one. Chicago's better, but there you go.
Number 1 can fail the assignment.
All right, my number 4 is a game that takes place. Is this? I'm not even going to make myself sound dumb, so I'm not going to say it.
You don't know where Venice is?
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to talk about it. The game is Venice.
I'll just put it on the outline.
This is somewhere not in America. I do know that. And basically what you're doing in this game is you are gondolier, like, I don't know what they are, pilots or whatever, gondolier people. And you are trying to go to visit these different factories to pick up some goods and then take them to other locations to drop off goods. You're trying to avoid people. Sorry, I just read that outline. I know it's not Florida. You didn't have to put that on there. Okay. You're trying to put people down at these factories so they can work for you to make them better. And you're trying to basically get people working at these buildings so when you move your gondola past them, you can pick up cubes, which are different types of goods, and then get those goods to deliver to other buildings. A whole bunch of other interesting stuff going on. If you pass by another boat, you get some suspicion. And if you have the most intrigue or suspicion, whatever it's called, at the end of the game, you automatically lose. I love that mechanism. It's one of my favorites. We've only played it a couple times. I'd really like to play it again because it's good. But yeah, it takes place in Italy, not in America. And I was going to say Italy anyway, but I did want to sound dumb. So I left it off because I'm not good at geography. And I'll own that. So there we go. My number 4, definitely around the world, not in America, Venice.
Yes. Okay, that does count. A place where I really want to go, I'm kind of working on trying to plan a trip there, is my number 4, and that is London. Y'all know how I feel about London. Marty Wallace game. Only one that I like.
Katie loves Marty Wallace. No, she loves them all. All of them.
Yes, I always bring this up in my Marty Wallace fan club meetings about how great London is. This is the ugliest game ever. But there's just something about it. The last time I played it, I was like, dang, this game is hard. Like, how many cards do I put in my city, and when is the right time to run them? And I really want to play this card in my city, but I don't have enough money, and I don't have another card of the same color to play it. And it only gets to run once. And like, how do I get this back in my city? And how am I going to get rid of all this dang poverty, Martin Wallace? Why? With all the poverty? I got to take out loans. I got to pay back these loans. There's always loans. But just that tension, because some people are like, oh yeah, I'm on a big city, I'm going to play all these cards. And you're like, oh, look at all those cards. But that produces so much poverty unless you have other cards that are really mitigating that. And running a big city, you don't get to do it very often. And it's not often to your advantage because then you're starting all over if all those cards are like a one-time use. It's just dark and depressing. Like I think sometimes London in real life can be. We have the old version, the first edition, which I think is better because you have a map of London also that you can like kind of do. It's not really area control, but sort of.
Not really. No, you're not really controlling anything. You're just trying to buy as many as you can.
Yeah. So area majority. Nah, I don't know because you do get stuff.
You don't get points for it. Yeah, you don't get points for it.
You can.
I mean, not for having more than everybody else. You just get your own points
from where they are, and
yeah.
So that can help mitigate your poverty as well. So I like that visual of seeing the map and where things are and what they're connected to and how much they are. The underground cards. I think that's a really cool feature. Again, your own ways of scoring points. Like we don't have to go the same route. I think that is really vital to me in a game, and that's what makes this so fun to play again and again. So my number 4 is London.
Yeah, I intentionally didn't put this on my list because I knew that you would like it. So there you go.
I mean, you could have. I actually know more cities around the world, so.
Well, we have a ton of games that have cities too, so I could. Yeah, I try to grab different ones that we don't always talk about. So my number 3, yeah, that's where we are. 3. This is breaking my rule because we do talk about this one quite often, and that is Paris. Kramer and Kiesling, and this is a game where you are basically visiting these different shops around I'm not going to say it, the Arc
de Triomphe.
Yeah, that thing. There's like there's 5 different things around that. Is
around
that
these
right?
mounts. I don't know how many they have there,
yeah.
But
well, there's in the game. There's like I think 5 different sections around the arc, whatever. And basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to go visit these different buildings to collect goods, and you're trying to earn influence in these different areas. And you're ultimately, if you have the most influence in the areas, you're going to score some in-game points. So this one does have a little bit. It's basically all area control, kind of. But if you have the most influence, you can build a monument, and then that's going to give you some extra good stuff, some extra influence power for in-game points, all that kind of thing. There's other pieces that go to it, but that's hard. It's a little area control, upgrading, influence, and all that kind of thing. It's a really fun game. I've seen what that thing looks like in videos. It looks cool, the arch thing. So I know it's a thing. I know Paris is in France, so there we go. But the game is really good. I enjoy it a lot. It's not everybody wants to play it because it starts out really. You're building the game as you go. You're putting tiles out in these different areas as you go. But by the end of the game, when the board's all full, it just gets overwhelming on things that you can do. And it kind of like slows you down and gives you a little bit of AP. So we don't play it as much as I would like, but it's a good game anyway. So my number 3, Paris, which is in France.
It is in France. Good job. I didn't realize we were supposed to put games here that we don't talk about often. I was just putting my favorite games from around the world.
No,
places I want to visit.
That's kind of why I did City of the Big Shoulders, because we never talk about that. So at least I could get a couple different ones. Yeah, that was my thought a little bit.
Okay, well, I picked games from places I would like to visit. So my number 3 is a recent acquisition of mine. We've talked about it. I talked about it when it was on Kickstarter about how badly I wanted it. I actually backed it. I did an unboxing video where I was basically neurotic and shook the camera everywhere, but squealed like a goody squirrel girl because I wanted Let's Go to Japan. So this is primarily set in Tokyo and Kyoto. We also have the expansion that allows you to do side trips to like Nara and Hiroshima and
I think Osaka's in there too.
Osaka, yeah. I really like this game. I want to play it more. I feel like nobody wants to play it as much as me. So we don't play it as often as I would like because it's so great. So this is card drafting and then your tableau building. So you are drafting these cards to make an itinerary of things to do in your week in Japan. So you can go to Tokyo, you can go see sumo wrestlers. I mean, and there's all like so many great things. And I probably have a personal connection to it because I went to Japan and I planned my trip and I'm like, oh, I was there. Yeah, that place is great. And I just want to do it all over again, which makes it really fun. But there's a lot of really interesting strategic choices in it because you're trying to hit these goals like certain days. It's like, oh, this was a good day to go hiking. So if you have cards in your itinerary that have to do with nature, you get bonuses. So trying to organize those bonuses, then whatever the highlight of the day is, that's the card that's the top of each day. Like, can I meet the criteria to get what are some sizable bonuses off of those cards as well? Moving on a track. I mean, it's tracks, it's card drafting, it's Japan. It's like chunky tactile pieces to move around. Like, it is everything that I want in a game. And I just really want to play it, like, right now. So that is my number 3. Let's go to Japan.
Okay, so when you said these are places you wanted to visit, I felt like I needed to change my next one because I don't really want to visit that place because it's scary. So I changed it, and I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind visiting this place, and it's a good game too. And this is called Hawaii. And if you've never heard of this game, it's kind of old. You said
if you've never heard of Hawaii.
No, everybody's heard of Hawaii. The game is from 2011, so ancient in board game times. But effectively what you're doing is you are chiefs of these different tribes in Hawaii, and you are walking around the island. Basically, I don't even, the theme is a little weird, but you're trying to recruit hula dancers and get different types of tikis or totems to build into your own section of the island. Like, you have your little player board and you're trying to build up your own section of Hawaii by exploring and kind of developing it, I guess. There's fruit that you can gather. There's ships that you can ship stuff off on, because it's got water everywhere. But it's a really good game. I don't know how thematic it is to Hawaii because I've never been there, but there's hula dancers. I know there's hula dancers in Hawaii, so there you go. So yeah, that's where I start. I know nothing about the world. I'm sorry. I sound like a big idiot, and that's okay. We all know. We know. I live in Ohio. I know Ohio. There we go. Even then, I'm not that great. So there we go. So my number 2, before I sound even more like a moron, I'm going to just stop talking, and it is Hawaii.
Okay. Also in America, but it is farther.
That's true. It is in America. But I was going to say downfall of Pompeii, and I don't really want to go to Pompeii. And there's nothing. I don't even know what's in Pompeii.
I do want to go to Pompeii now. It's cool.
What if the volcano goes off again?
Well, it doesn't go off that often, and they let you know ahead of time.
That's what the people in Pompeii thought. They thought they were safe.
I think the system of information, dissemination, is much stronger now than it was.
Now they're a game, and I pretend to throw them in a volcano. So there we go.
Well, now I feel chastised because I don't want to go to the next place, and I like this game, and I talk about it all the time. So now I feel like I have to call an audible and change it.
No, it's fine. My list is terrible. You keep doing what you're doing. Yours is good.
No.
Your list is better than mine. Yeah, just say it. It's fine.
No, I feel like I need to change it. I feel convicted.
No, say it. I'm going to say what it is, so you have to be stuck with it.
I can say, I don't care what you say. I'm going to change it. So my number 2 is Grand Austria Hotel, which obviously refers to Austria. I would say that I did not want to go to Austria until one of my best friend who I went to Japan with, she just went on a trip to Austria and her pictures were gorgeous. And she did the tour, that toured where the Sound of Music was filmed. And I
the hills are alive.
Desperately want to do that. So yeah, maybe Austria is on my list, but y'all know, Grand Austria Hotel, this is my baby. I have loved this game for so long. I feel like it was one of the first really heavy games I played, and just a game that requires me to use dice to get dice and the dice that I want in the amount that I want to take the action I want. Or if that's not available, to make something else work, to get customers to fulfill their orders, to place them into rooms, close those out, to move them on tracks so we don't get slapped around by the, hotel council, whoever it is that comes and checks on
Emperor.
you. it just, all that synergy when it works, like there's no better feeling. And so like there's just something about this game, and we have like upgraded pieces to this, like because people are just so wonderful, and they sent me these little cakes and bottles of wine, and like it's I love this game. I think I haven't played it for quite a while. I think that my cousin and her husband, who we regularly play games with, I think they might be ready to handle this one. Maybe.
They just played Orleans, and that's kind of beefy.
Right. And I think this is another one that we'd have to play twice. But it's just, it's so good. Like it just pushes your brain in all the best ways. The Italians, I just love the design on this game. And that's what meant going to a Grand Austria hotel. So that's my number 2.
I want to go to the Grand Budapest Hotel. Yep. All right, so moving on. My number 1, I don't know. I don't want to go here. I don't want to be on a boat this long. I don't want to go to the Mediterranean or wherever this is. Probably not even the Mediterranean. I'm already sounding like an idiot. But the game is Maracaibo. It's the Caribbean. That's what I meant. The Caribbean. And in this game, Maracaibo is off the coast of Venezuela.
Yep. Do you know where Venezuela is?
No, but according to the BGG thing, this takes place around the Caribbean. So I'm going with that. So if they're wrong, that's on them, not on me. They can be dummies too. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, it sort of is.
Puerto Rico's on the map.
Okay, but if you're talking about like Maracaibo itself, it's like inside this inlet, like it's the Gulf of Venezuela. Anyway.
Correct. Yes. But you're traveling around a whole bunch of places. So this is basically like all around the world.
I'll give you Caribbean. Mediterranean, no. I'll give you Caribbean.
I said Mediterranean, but I meant Caribbean. That's what I meant. So anyway, this is an Alexander Pfister game where you are taking this boat. You have a little boat that you're moving around. And you're visiting different cities on the map. It's basically a big rondel. You're traveling around the Mediterranean, Caribbean, all around. And you're going to stop at a location. It's either going to be a city or like a little island, whatever. That's not like a big build-up city. And then you're going to take certain actions. Depending on how far you move, depends on what actions you can take. You may be buying some cards. You may be playing some cards. You may be using some cards that you played down in front of you that offer you a special ability. You may be going on a hike through this path that's at the bottom of the board. I don't know what that represents. I don't care. You're also going to be throwing your support behind these 3, I guess, conquistador things. I don't know anything about any of this. But you're trying to back these different countries when they're fighting battles. France, England, and Spain, I believe, to help conquer these different nations. So a little bit of colonialism, I guess. But either way, it takes place in the Caribbean. It's a fun game, and I like it. So my number 1, Maracaibo.
I can't tell if this podcast is a reflection of the poor education system in America or our lack of research for each podcast. Or both.
Honestly, I'm so bad at remembering things that I could have known this at one point in time. I would never know it now, ever. And I didn't do any research, so there is that too. I think it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah. My number 1, maybe I'm breaking the rules because this is not a different country, but yet it is a different city. And the game I want to talk about is White Castle. And White Castle, while it does look like the palace in Osaka Castle, it is not. It is actually the castle in Himeji City that's considered the White Castle. Himeji-jo. It is beautiful. But this game is beautiful. Like, I didn't get to go see this castle, and I wish I had taken a day trip, because to me, Osaka Castle is disappointing. And you know,
is it the same thing? It doesn't look the same.
No.
They look the same in pictures.
It is a White Castle, but it is not the same. It is not the White Castle.
Yeah, I know that. I just thought they were like the same type of building.
They look similar. Himeji's is much bigger, the actual White Castle. And for the most part, Osaka Castle is pretty modernized. I mean, it burned down like 4 different times. It's got an elevator in it, for crying out loud, so it is modern. But the White Castle is beautiful, and this game is beautiful, and I need to play it more. Because when I was talking about Grand Austria and the synergy and looking at different parts and how they affect things and balancing all of this stuff, that is what White Castle does also. With dice also. I see a recurring theme of all my favorite games, right? But when you choose your dice to take your action, if you take a lower number, you can get some really crafty bonuses. And if you could kind of line your bonuses up right, it really doesn't matter if you take a lower number or a higher number, because you're still going to get to do what you want. And kind of getting that to work out is awesome, number one. But there's so many different things to balance. You're moving stuff off your player board. You're putting stuff down on the main board. You're trying to get all of the stuff, which is all different kinds of areas, off your board, because really going too heavy in one is not necessarily going to help you. It's a lot of things to think about and juggle, but the payoff is so satisfactory. You don't get very many turns. In fact, we did like an extra round, which I think is pretty necessary in my opinion. I would house rule that. But because of that, you want to get your actions going. They can like pile up on each other where you're hitting bonuses that trigger multiple bonuses that are allowing you to move in different places. And when all those things kind of work together, you're like, yeah, that was an awesome turn. Like, that's what I want to do every time. And you can't. You've got building up turns to that great turn, but you want that great turn. And then maybe a couple of those turns. And I love games that do that because, again, I think there are lots of ways you can approach this. You can kind of go heavy into one area. Gosh, it's been a while since we played this. And I can't remember all the things you're clearing off. The different types of, like, samurais and geishas.
Gardeners, geishas, and warriors. Yeah,
okay. That's it. I'm not too far. I'm not my usual meandering out in left field about the game.
Farmers, I think, not gardeners.
Okay. Yeah, farmers. So I equally got rid of them. I think you could go heavy into one as long as you kind of did something in the other ones. You can always choose the high dice and not get the bonuses and still have good turns. So I love that about a game where I don't have to play by a prescribed way, because then I'm like, well, it's just whoever gets there first, and it just doesn't seem, it's like, take the same turn you did. I hate that. I think a game really sings when you can go off and do your own thing and make it a really viable bid to win. And I think that happens in White Castle. So White Castle is my number one.
All White Castles look the same to me. So that's kind of where I was.
I was waiting for you to make a joke about sliders or something.
No, the whole time you were talking, I was trying to come up with a joke, and that's the best one that I came up with, that one I just said at the end, which was real dumb.
Wow. That's awesome.
It's disappointing. No geography and no joke skills here.
No. I wonder if there are White Castles in other countries. Like White Castle's, the restaurant chain.
Yeah, I know you meant. Yeah,
no, I meant for our listeners. Maybe they don't know what I'm talking about.
Then they're clearly from Canada and they don't understand.
They don't have White.
That was a good joke. I heard you laugh.
If it's not Tim Hortons, what is it?
No, White Castle's only Timmy Ho.
Double at the Timmy Ho's. No, like, yeah. I also enjoy White Castle, the restaurant chain, as well as the White Castles in other, like, historical monuments, other places. They have different effects on me.
Those though,
but
did I make you go poop when you go into the White Castles in the other cities?
No, I didn't. It didn't. Okay, so those are some of our favorite games or places around the world that take place in places around the world, and there are tons, we didn't mention and we could mention. So, what is a game that takes place in a location that you would like to vacation to? Tell us.
And not in America, apparently.
Unless you're Canadian or from Australia and you want America.
Canadians.
I apologize to the entire country of Canada on behalf of my husband. America and the White Castle restaurant has warped his brain.
Yeah, it's just true. It's true.
But I would love to hear about what some of your favorite games and locations that you want to visit or have visited, if there are games there. Or some of you, maybe your favorite location to vacation to doesn't have a board game. Maybe you should make it. What would it be like? I'd love to hear about that too. Hit us up on any of our socials, Facebook, Instagram, the Twitters, I think the TikTokies, YouTube, a Discord channel. We got a hashtag The Riveted, our Facebook group. We really like to hear. I personally really like to hear what you guys are playing, what you think, where you on a vacation. I love all those things. So drop us a line and tell us what fits with our episode this week.
Yeah, and I do apologize for everybody. Not for everybody. To everybody for my lack of knowledge, I guess, on stuff.
I keep trying to help him. Like, I keep trying to point out things on a map.
Okay, so part of the stuff with me is if I don't really care, I'm not going to remember it. And I just don't care where some of this stuff is. I'm sorry. I mean, I know Paris is in France. I know there's an Eiffel Tower there. That's about where my knowledge stops. London has the king and the queen. The queen's dead.
Well, the queen mother.
Yeah, that's true. It's Camilla now.
They call her the queen, and then she's the queen consort. But anyway.
See, I know some stuff, but I just don't care. So that's part of it. Is it's not you, it's me. There you go.
It's not like you're callous either. I just think in your neurodivergency, it's not one of your special interests. It's geography.
Yeah, like all these places are cool. I just don't need to know where they are or know anything about them because I don't care.
Thank goodness Katie knows where things are located in the world. Okay, we've rambled on for too long. It's going downhill fast. And it's not even late.
Yeah, I agree. We need to put me out of my misery.
Well, I've been Katie, the Atlas.
And I'm Jason, the know nothing about anything geography.
Keep gaming, everybody.
Keep gaming.
You need to watch more. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego?